Welcome back to my spooky scary Saturdays. This week's movie was Candyman, a classic that I've just added into the whole order of everything this year. Before we hop into that movie talk and fun fact sort of opinion on this movie, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Kristen. Do yourself a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to be notified when I upload videos. I obviously will be uploading once a week. Spooky Scary Saturday, heading up all the way to Halloween, and I might try and shove in some other videos in between our Saturdays. So without blabbing too much, let's go ahead and roll on into the video.
Did Candyman do this?
And our second spooky scary film was Candyman, 1992. Based on the short story The Forbidden by Clive Barker, the film follows a Chicago graduate student who is completing a thesis on urban legends, which led her to the legend of the Candyman. Helen hears of a local story about the Candyman who can be summoned by saying his name 5 times in a mirror, causing him to appear and kill the summoner with his hook for a hand. Eventually, Helen starts looking into these local murders and kind of finds herself in, the wrong place at the wrong time, and keeps going into almost like these dream state trances when she is interacting with Candyman, and she'll wake up having lost track of time, being covered in blood, and then there'll be a bloody person around her, and eventually the cops start looking at her, and eventually she finds herself in a psychiatric hold. The backstory on Candyman is kind of a legend that Helen acquires from a professor. He was the son of a slave, and because he had this gift of shoemaking and kind of went into mass producing shoes after the Civil War, he was then accepted by white society. After using that to get his name out there as a well-known artist, he was sought after by the wealthy and their families to have their portraits done. After being hired by one white woman and thus falling in love and having a child together, her father sent an angry mob after him. They cut off his right hand and eventually murdered him in cold blood by an angry swarm of bees. Eventually, you start to follow the dynamic between Helen and Candyman, realizing that he almost sees her as like the reincarnation sort of the white woman that he had once fallen in love with, and that everything he was doing, all the trouble he was kind of causing for her, was just so they could end up together. That's what you may already know about Candyman, but here are a few things that you may have not known. Eddie Murphy was originally considered for the lead role in Candyman, even though looking back on it, I feel like Tony Todd, his voice, everything, he's a phenomenal actor, and I think it would have definitely had a different tone had Eddie Murphy been the lead.
With my hook for a hand, I'll split you from your groin to your gullet.
Candyman's title sequence with that beautiful sort of sky view of Chicago was revolutionary and groundbreaking at the time. They had new technology, the sky cam, and that had never been done before. Even though plenty of fans of the film see Candyman as a very horrific and creepy monster, that was not the idea of the director himself. He has been quoted saying the idea was that he was kind of a romantic figure, and again, romantic in the sort of Edgar Allan Poe sense, is the romance of the death. He's a ghost, and he's also the resurrection of something that is kind of unspoken or unspeakable in American history, which is slavery as well. So he's kind of come back, and he's haunting what is the new version of the racial segregation in Chicago. This was made in 1992, so no, the bees were not CGI. They were real. That scene is real with them all over both he and Helen, and that was all real. Although, to add to that, Tony Todd was stung about 23 times and got a bonus each time that it happened. I don't blame him. I would too. This is something that is actually very much upsetting me as I just am now looking up at this. When Philip Glass, that's who created the score, and the score for it is phenomenal. I mean, one of the themes from it I play year-round. I think it's beautiful. Apparently he was not happy, to say the least, very disappointed in the way the film turned out. Thought it was going to be something that it wasn't, and he just saw it as a low-budget slasher film, even though I don't see that. But, you know, I guess horror is just not for everyone.
Can't fix that. Better off dead.
Those were the fun facts about Candyman, but when you really start to dive into how I feel about Candyman, it really just comes down to the message and what it meant at the time as well as today. I mean, these are still clearly things that we still see and are continuing to see in our own culture now. The true villain in Candyman isn't the urban legend that you think that movie is setting up for you. It's really about what happened to that character, that trickle-down effect that had him killed, and then coming back seeking vengeance. That's the real horror, sort of how we got to be. Because again, he's not meant to be a vicious villain character. He is meant to be sort of your own sort of gothic romantic character that it's like the forbidden love is supposed to be the point of the movie. I really enjoy Candyman, and I know we were supposed to, before all of COVID, the guy who made Get Out was supposed to be doing a remake of Candyman. I still very much look forward to that whenever that is able to get underway and into theaters. I would love to see it. I think it is a great film and definitely a horror classic that all horror fans out there should definitely check out, because the meaning, the symbolism to it, it is something that you're not going to find in any other movies right now, I think. It definitely has its place, and I am loving having it now in my countdowns to Halloween. So that was my movie talk on Candyman. I hope to see you in some of my other videos, and I will see you on my next Spooky Scary Saturday.